Welcome back to That Handicapping Show. I'm Claire Novak, joined once again by Tom LaMarra. Today we're going to talk about the Clark Handicap at Churchill Downs, $500,000 a mile and an eighth. This is the Churchill Downs season finale, the last big Grade 1 of the year. And Tom, there are some interesting horses in here. Didn't quite draw as an illustrious of a field as last season, but a couple of 3-year-olds who we thought were going to be something until they missed the early part of the year. So, of course, you and I are both going to take a look at Hoppertunity, but first of all, how do you think this race is going to set up? There's not a whole lot of speed in here.
Well, I think the last couple of years we've probably been a little spoiled with this race.
Yeah.
This is reality check here, I guess, for a late season Grade 1. It's a good field, excuse me, and I think it's a pretty good betting race. I don't see a real standout here, which is a good thing for wagering purposes. You know, it's a little hard, too, to kind of project the pace in this race.
Yeah.
You know, I would think Constitution would probably show some pretty good early speed here. Return to the races in mid-October at Belmont and checked in fourth. He actually looked a little funky in that race, I thought. But I'm going to let him have that race and absolutely will be using him. I think he's probably one of the horses who should help make the early pace. Hoppertunity, as you mentioned, ran a really nice race in his comeback in late October, Breeders' Cup week at Santa Anita. Went from last to almost winning a 7-furlong race that was rather quickly run. It really impressed me, and I think he should be ready for the stretch out. Again, I've just talked about 2 of the 3 3-year-olds, and I'm going to use both of them in this race.
All right, Hoppertunity won the Rebel Stakes, and he was coming into the Derby as one of the favorites, and then he got injured and was off the Triple Crown Trail. He ran second in the Santa Anita Derby to California Chrome before he ended up going to Rood and Riddle in Kentucky when he was training out there at Churchill in the days leading up to the Derby. And then Constitution is the Florida Derby winner, and you mentioned the speed. He actually, before he won the Florida Derby, he beat eventual Belmont Stakes winner Tonalist in an allowance race at Gulfstream Park. So these are both 2 horses that had a great deal of class, a great deal of interest in the early part of the year, and now we see them coming back from their various ailments. Constitution also went to the sidelines with a minor fracture that he needed time to heal from. So taking a look at some of the older horses in here, I would say that, you know, this race could finally be the chance for Departing to get his long-awaited Grade 1. This is a horse who's been multiple Grade 2 winner, won a Grade 3, but every time they put him into the Grade 1 company, he doesn't seem to be able to get the job done. Of course, they were asking a lot of him to run him in the Preakness after he won the Illinois Derby, and he ran 6th in that race. He came back earlier this year and ran in the Whitney, but he just really didn't fire. So I'm not sure what it is. He chokes up a little bit about that Grade 1 company, I guess. Maybe this will be his chance.
Well, you know, he's won half of his 14 starts, 1.5, almost $1.6 million. Really nice horse, absolutely fits here, likes the racing surface. There's a lot of pluses here, but as you pointed out, there's a big minus. And that is that, you know, and he was the favorite in his last 2 starts, and he lost to Cigar Street, who later ran
in the
at Breeders' Cup in the Classic. And then Pick of the Litter beat him in the Fayette. He drew the outside 9 post in this race. I liked him in that race. I picked him. I'm not going to use him here. He is 1 for 5 at Churchill with 3 seconds, so obviously he also likes the surface, but I'm just not getting a vibe on him in this race.
Well, speaking of Breeders' Cup, and last year we had Will Take Charge and Game On Dude battling down the stretch in this race, and Will Take Charge came off that runner-up finish in the Breeders' Cup Classic to beat Game On Dude in the Clark. This year, the only horse coming out of the Breeders' Cup Classic to make a try here is Prayer for Relief, who ran 12th. So he's going to need to do a much better job than he did at Santa Anita. But you and I were talking before the show, and this is a horse who's pretty hard to figure out. And I remember talking earlier in the summer, I don't know if it was for the Whitney or the Woodward. He ran 3rd in the Whitney, he ran 4th in the Woodward. But I was like, I don't don't really want to leave this horse out. I think he's sneaky good, and if you look at his numbers for the Brisnet, the prime power numbers and everything, the class ratings, I mean, it's kind of hard to fathom, but he is up there, and he's won a lot of money.
Yeah, the Bris prime power rating, which of course combines a lot of speed, class, and all that kind of stuff, but he has a 3-point advantage over the closest horse, and the next closest is Protonico, who we haven't mentioned, who just
the other
won the Discovery at Aqueduct and is racing against some older horses for the first time. Prayer for Relief is a nice horse. He certainly kept great company this year, but he's 0-0-0 for 4 at Churchill Downs. There's just a lot of questions there. I mean, would it surprise me if this horse finally wins? No.
It's his 3rd try in the Clark.
But he won't be on my ticket.
He ran last in the Clark last year, and he ran poorly against Wisedan in 2011.
Yes.
So maybe 3rd time is the charm.
I'm not going there, but
all right, well, let's talk about one more horse before we end the show, and that will be Easter Gift, who ran 3rd behind Will Take Charge and Game On Dude last year in this race, and trainer Chad Brown was pretty high on him, but they ran into some hiccups. He had a couple of bad races in stakes. He was 8th in the Monmouth Cup. He was 6th by 20 lengths in a race at Saratoga. He got some more time, came back, won an allowance race at Belmont on October 12th, hasn't run since then, but he is a horse who ran 3rd last year, and he was running well last year when he won a couple of minor stakes for Chad Brown and Robert LaPenta. So what do you think about him?
He did beat Constitution in Constitution's comeback.
Yes.
Which was an allowance race, as we said, on October 12th at Belmont Park. I thought it looked pretty good visually. He was last early, and he circled the other 5 horses. He won by a head in a pretty close finish. But like I said earlier, I think Constitution should run a much better race in the Clark on Saturday, so I certainly rate him higher than Easter Gift.
All right, money where your mouth is. I'm going to go with Hoppertunity.
Hoppertunity on top.
All right, Departing, Prayer for Relief, and maybe Easter Gift in there somehow if you want. How would you bet this race? You're just all in on Hopper, or are you gonna
straight money on Hoppertunity for sure, and then horses underneath and for pick 3 purposes would be Departing. I'm not going to leave him out, and Constitution.
Alrighty, well, of course, this is the Thanksgiving holiday weekend at Churchill, so hopefully you all have a wonderful Turkey Day, and we wish you the best. Thank you for watching the Handicapping Show, and always, we say thanks to Briss for the peepees.